Hello, this is Mrs. Correa, and today we're talking about the exterior angle theorem. The exterior angle theorem of a triangle is equal to the sum of the two opposite interior angles. So when we look at the angles of a triangle, we have two different types of angles. We have interior angles, which are inside of the triangle, and we have exterior angles, which are outside of the triangle. And they're created by extending one of the sides and then measuring that angle between the other side. So that's the exterior angle. And this rule tells us that if we add together two of the interior angles, they are equal to the exterior angle that's on the opposite side of the triangle. So notice I've got this exterior angle, and on the opposite side of the triangle, if you add these two, they are equal. So let's do a couple examples from your worksheet. Number 1, find the measure of each angle indicated. So our exterior angle rule tells us that if I add together these two angles, I'm going to equal 120. So let's say let's write it out in this equation. That means we've got our question mark plus 50 equals 120. So then what does that question mark have to be in order for our exterior angle to equal 120? We're just going to work backwards by subtracting 50 from both sides. And we get that angle U is equal to 70 degrees. All right, and that is our answer to number 1. Let's look at number 3. All right, now here they gave us the two interior angles and we're looking for the exterior angle. So that means we're going to do angle S plus angle T, and that's going to give us our exterior angle U. So we know S is 70, T is 50. So if we add those together, we get 120 degrees is equal to angle U. All right, so that's how you're going to do numbers 1 through 8. Let's jump to the back of the page. I want to make sure I do some of the more trickier problems with you. So we're going to jump to number 11. All right, so notice that we now have some expressions. We have some expressions here. It's not just numbers. So we're going to write an equation, solve the equation for x, because that's what the instructions are asking for in numbers 9 through 13 or 14 for you to solve for x. So remember, for this equation, our two interior angles, C plus D, are going to equal our exterior angle, B. So I'm going to do C is 46. D is -1 plus 8x. And that's going to equal 18x plus 5. All right, whenever you are solving an equation like this, your first step is always to combine like terms. And like terms are terms that have the same variable or constant. So just first start by adding or subtracting any number that doesn't have a variable. So that's going to include 46 and -1 on the left side of the equal sign. So 46 plus -1 is going to give me 45. And then I'm just going to copy down the rest of it. All right, so I combined like terms on both sides. There isn't anything I can combine on the right side. So then we're going to start by subtracting the smaller x value. So 8x and 18x are my x values on both the left and the right side. We're going to start by subtracting the smaller one from both sides, and that will maintain positive numbers. So I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides. Okay, and when I say both sides, I mean both sides of the equal sign, right? So I'm going to draw a line down here to kind of remind us where that equal sign is. All right, so on the left-hand side, I've got 45, and then positive 8x minus 8x, that just makes it go away. Okay, so I just have 45 on the left. On the right-hand side, I've got my 18x minus 8x, so I'm left with 10x. And then I'm going to bring down that plus 5. Okay, so I brought down the 45 and the 5, and I subtracted 18 minus 8 to rewrite my equation. All right, we are down to a two-step equation. Whenever you've got just a number on one side and your expression on the other side, you're always going to add or subtract first, and you do the opposite of whatever it says. So it says plus 5, so I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. And then I'm going to cancel out these 5s. 45 minus 5 is 40. All right, and then once I've done my subtraction, my last step is either multiplying or dividing to get that variable by itself. It says 10 times x, so we need to undo by dividing both sides by 10. And we get x equals 4, and that is number 11. All right, let's do one more together. I'm going to jump down to the bottom here. Make sure we do these more challenging ones together. So number 17. All right, so this one wants us to find the measure of angle FAB. When you see this, these symbols right here, M means measure, and that symbol right there means angle. So find the measure of angle FAB. And that angle is described by starting with the letter F, going to the letter A, and ending with the letter B. So the angle we're talking about here is the exterior angle. All right, so let's start by writing our equation. Remember, our two interior angles are 55 and 3x plus 2. So we're going to write an expression where it adds both of those together. And then on the other side of the equal sign is our exterior angle, and that expression they gave us is 13x minus 3. Once you set up the equation, we can start by solving the equation. And in order to do that, our first step is to combine like terms. So you're going to combine all of the things that are just numbers, and then you're going to combine all of the things that have the same variables. So let's start with the ones that are just numbers. On the left-hand side, I see a 55 and I see a 2. So we're going to add those together. 55 plus 2 is going to give me 57. And then I'm going to copy down everything else. Just bring down that 3x. On the other side of the equal sign, there's nothing else I can combine. I only see one term with an x in it, and I only see one term that's by itself. All right, so from there, we now have a simplified equation, but we still have variables on both sides. So to make it so we only have a variable on one side, we're going to start by subtracting the smaller variable from both sides. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides here. Remember both sides of the equal sign, so I'm going to draw that line there so we remember what we're talking about. All right, so then on my left-hand side, all I'm left with is my 57 because these 3 x's cancel out. That 13x minus 3x gives me 10x, and then I'm going to bring down that minus 3. So our new equation says 57 equals 10x minus 3. We now have a two-step equation. I see multiplication and I see subtraction. We're first going to do the opposite of either add or subtract. So we're going to add both sides plus 3. And that cancels out the 3's on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, 57 plus 3 is 60. All right, final step is either multiply or divide. Since it says 10 times a number gives us 60, let's divide both sides by 10, and we get x equals 6. Now, unlike the problem we did earlier, we're not quite done yet because it didn't ask for the value of x. It asked us for the value of the angle. And we know that this angle is 13x minus 3. So I'm going to just kind of rewrite this over here. Measure of angle FAB equals 13x minus 3. But now we know what x equals. We just found it. X equals 6. So we're going to substitute in that 6 for the x. So when I rewrite it, I'm going to write 13 times 6 minus 3. And then we can simplify. 13 times 6 is 78. 78 minus 3 is 75 degrees. And that is the measure of the angle we're looking for.